So I remember when I'll say started leading teams. So I hadn't become the manager title in quotes wasn't yet, officially, let's say, what's the word? Bestowed on me. Convert, it wasn't a problem, but I started leading teams. Like, we had like a little restructuring. And where how it is, like your peers, people you're probably on the same level with them, and then you just suddenly get that new role or title to start, not title now, but role that you're going to be like a lead, leading the team. Of course, I sort of experienced that sort of little resistance,
Of course.
at the outset. Was it was there, the vibe wasn't vibing, so to speak. And of course that made it was quite uncomfortable because you're not turning between these guys were, and they're still your guys. You probably don't build relationships and all that. And then the thing where it's like, maybe they're not so happy that you are now, their team lead, or why wasn't it there? Why did they choose you, and that kind of stuff. That was quite an uncomfortable time, I would say, and almost making me feel like maybe we should not give you this role or something like that.
And then imposter syndrome will set in.
Exactly.
People were resistant, stonewalling you.
Exactly.
Basically making your life difficult, right?
Literally.
It's just work. We're trying not to take it too seriously.
But really, it is your career, and you need to take ownership of it. Hey,
how are you?
How are you?
I'm okay. It's we've gotten into spring.
Yeah.
Even though it snowed heavily like 3 days ago.
Dickens, like, what was that?
No, that snow shocked everyone.
What was that?
It was just like everyone just came out of their houses and snow. It was ridiculous. And then it starts raining, and then it's all gloomy and cloudy, and
like bringing back the whole winter vibes.
Yeah. Like even now, we were struggling with our lighting for so long because the weather outside is so gloomy, like so gray. But yeah, it's other than that, it's been okay. My weeks have gotten better. I have had easier weeks.
Nice.
More chill weeks. And we need to appreciate this, right? Less chaos, more ease, more easy mornings. So I'm happy. I'm in a chill place. How about you?
That's really nice. Work has been busier. It's kind of like a busy period for me at work right now. But other than that, I think it's been pretty much like it's also been, it's been pretty good stuff. Of course, a lot of things happening here and there. My health, I've just been having some, my health wise as well, and a bit of, I'll say not something making me maybe physically down, but like I can't get up and walk, but it's just a lot of things are just unsettled and all that. So I've been dealing with that. Thank you. But also something interesting that caught my attention, in the past weeks have been these kids from Chess Slums. Chess Slums. I can't remember whether is it Chess Slums or Chess in Slums. I can't remember what the
name. Tunde Onokoya.
Tunde Onokoya. Yes. It's been so beautiful, so emotional, even just hearing the stories of those kids, especially the one who had the with special needs, the
cerebral palsy.
Cerebral palsy. And literally the guy taking the stage and even just knocking off the other chess players and in the competition. That has been so humbling.
No, it's been humbling. It's been heartwarming. It's bringing humanity back.
Exactly.
It's just been like all the good feels.
Honestly,
Tunde Onokoya is doing, the work like Mother Teresa did, Mary Slessor.
Yes.
Those sort of like impact on humanity, service to humanity. That's what Tunde is doing in modern day times. And he deserves all the accolades. He deserves all the love.
Absolutely.
He's been so selfless, and it's just really heartwarming how far he's taking those kids. I hope I hope he gets all the support,
I hope so
financial,
too. Yeah,
emotional,
yeah.
everything he needs. I hope
Yeah.
he gets it.
I think, and it is a particular line he uses when he's sharing the stories. And is it like great things happen from small places, or
Yeah,
can you
something
remember
like that.
something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
truly, it's
yeah.
just it's so heartwarming. It's so
It is.
heartwarming.
It is. Kudos.
Yeah,
Kudos to
kudos.
Tunde.
Well done today.
Tunde,
Well
well
done.
done. We are proud of you. All
We are.
Nigerians are proud of
Yes,
you.
yes,
Well
yes,
done.
yes.
Yeah.
You're shining Nigeria in the very great
Yes.
spotlight, and
Yes.
well
Yes.
done.
Well done.
Well
Well
done.
done. Great. Great stuff. Great
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Whew.
Today we're talking about we're getting into a new series, or like a new theme on like a manager's handbook. We're not
Yeah.
sure what the title is just yet. Today we're going to be talking about our journeys
Right.
as new managers, way back when we became managers. And then this whole theme is going to talk about sort of like giving the tools and advice to new managers, even people who have been managers for a while. There's certain things you forget. So we're just going to be reminding you of certain things in terms of managing people, being an effective and efficient manager. So that's what this theme is going to cover. But today we're going to talk about our own stories, sort of reminiscing on
manager horror stories, if any. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's some horror ones.
There were some horror ones for sure. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking about. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, Bukola, over to you.
Okay, so I think it was back. What year can I even remember the year now? But yeah, a while back. Like I said, I'll say it was more. I started leading teams before I became a manager.
Right.
So when I became a manager, is becoming with the title a manager. So I think let me make that comparison. But I started leading teams, and I remember when that that I was taking the responsibility or whatever. When it was at like, oh, the restructuring, we're going this route, and you're going to be leading this team. And my team was like, I'll say what you call, it was what we call like the, the call, what organizations we call center of expertise or center of excellence.
Right.
Like you had all the, like everything, going on there. And then you sort of like you're developing, you're designing, creating concepts that, okay, you then sort of like you're handing over to the HR business partners to roll out, to implement and things like that. And even though that was supposed to be, like that was like the whole concept of it at the time. But it was still, it was exciting, at the same time nerve-wracking. And the only reason for that was because I was elevated to that role where my other peers and other people on the team who you're all on the same level, or maybe slightly, maybe you're probably maybe a level ahead or something, but it was almost like you are all reporting to one person who was maybe the head of HR, or someone more senior. It wasn't like you're now having to report to a peer. And then when that happened, of course, it was a mixed bag, While exciting, like I said, it was nerve-wracking, and I struggled.
Right.
I wouldn't even lie. I struggled with finding that balance of I want them to continue to like me and see me as their friend. And maybe that's something that, in hindsight, like, number one, even at work, of course, you make great friends at work, and that's okay. But it's like one out of many. It's not the norm. Like, don't go into that space of I want my co-workers to become my friends. No, you're just going to get yourself bored. I think we've talked about that.
We have,
right? But so I think I was going with that mindset.
Yeah.
I wanted to also to remain friends. Still go for lunch together and everything, while still demanding accountability and all that. Of course, that didn't work out quite well. And I had to learn in terms of just being able to make that adjustment, like just be polite, respectful, do what you need to do. Not like you're going to like boss them around or anything, but demanding accountability and just make sure that they do what they're supposed to do. That took me some getting used to be very honest, and I had to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I had to get comfortable with being
awkwardness.
Awkwardness, the weirdness, and knowing that they're not going to be your friends. Like, you're not here to make friends. You're here for something, and you need to be able to demand that. Because you're reporting, you're also going to reporting and having to give a report or whatever on status of how things are going. You can't say because this person did not bring submit it on time, and you're out there like because she's something I couldn't do. You're going to be the one to get the blame. So I had to learn that quickly and make adjustments where necessary, but still trying to keep like open, like that open dialogue, being respectful,
Right.
polite and all of that, and then things continue to move smoothly. But I'll say that's sort of like when I started leading teams, that's sort of how that came about. But maybe afterward, I would like to hear yours, and I can now move on to how things are like now.
Yeah, of course. I think for me, I became a manager, like officially became a manager in like a substantive position when I was 25 years old. So, I mean, yeah, looking back, I mean, now there are people who are already managing people at
Wow,
22.
you imagine? Wow, decades, quite
Yeah,
young.
yeah. At the time I was. Now I don't think it's such a rare occurrence. But yeah,
true,
yeah. But at the time I was just 25 years old, and I had to manage a team of, I don't know, maybe 10 people. So it was HR and admin. It was a big role. I hadn't been in such an unfamiliar terrain or territory. But certain things, there are certain things I knew for sure. One, I knew that I wanted to succeed. Two, I knew I wanted to make an impact. And three, which I think was the biggest driver for me, and that's how I try to live my life, is treat others how you want to be treated. So, prior to that period, I'd had managers who weren't the best, and I'd had managers who were quite decent. And I knew that I wanted to treat other people the way I wanted to be treated. And so that's how I went in. In becoming a new manager, I went in my head knowing that regardless, I wanted to treat people with respect. I wanted to treat people politely, but still get the job done. And I would say that's always how I've been. Like, that's always how I have sort of piloted my career, which is I'm always going to be as polite as I can be part time. But I am going to still get the job done. So if you're a slacker and things like that, I might have to be tough with you. I'm not a tough person. I avoid confrontation and whatnot. But if you are constantly dropping the ball, if work is not moving along because of you, then you will see the side that even I don't like. Right? And it's been consistent. Do you know this lady called Kemi Onobanjo?
Yeah, I do.
Fantastic lady. She was the president of CU alumni, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and she's I think Kemi is a partner in McKinsey.
Yeah.
If she's not a partner, she's like an associate.
I think associate partner. Last time I checked, I was associate partner
or VP something. Point is, she's a top person in McKinsey. She had said something. She said something about, you don't have to like me, just get the job done. Do you understand? Like, you don't have to think I'm the best person in the world. Aha, I remember something about, and this is me grossly paraphrasing, you don't have to like me, but you will grow under me, something like that. Like, you will get the job done. I will give you things that will grow you. You don't have to like me. You don't have to care for me. I don't have to care for you, but you will grow when I'm your manager. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's just, it's not like I was practicing that, intentionally. But that's how I went into that role. I struggled with my emotions. I struggled with imposter syndrome because I was so young, right? And there were these people in their 30s, late 30s, early 40s, early 30s, like all of them, but one was older than me. So I struggled a lot, like, Fadikemi, do you even know what you're doing? You're just here, like, do you even know? You don't know. In Jola's words, you don't know. Better go and learn. But I really, really struggled with imposter syndrome. I struggled with being assertive. I will tell you that for sure.
Yes,
I struggled
I can relate to that too.
Yeah, I struggled with being assertive. I also struggled with, I always took things personally at the time. Say, for instance, someone resigns. I will internalize it like, oh, it's you. Maybe you didn't properly manage him or her, or maybe people are complaining. I'll just internalize it. And there's something I want to debunk really quickly. Because, when people say people don't leave companies, they leave managers.
Yeah.
While that statement is true, it should always be put in context.
Okay.
Because if we want to level and be for real, sometimes culture is bad. And we've talked about it.
Yeah.
No matter how great the manager is, the there's little they can do.
It's the culture
Sometimes,
itself.
thank you.
Yeah, true.
So, but when we go with that mindset that people don't leave companies, they leave bad managers, and then people leave, and then you're already struggling with your emotions as a new manager, you tend to start thinking, is it
Something
me?
you did wrong,
Is it me?
right?
Okay, maybe I
Right.
snapped, maybe I could have been more patient. Even if someone is a slacker, you'll be thinking, maybe I could be more, I could have been more patient with that person. Maybe I could have done this. Maybe I should have just done the work, right? Or taught him how to do it. Or, and then you start struggling with all this emotion. So when you hear statements like that, put it in context. It's not one size fits all. Sometimes people leave bad companies,
Right.
not necessarily bad managers. They
Right.
like their manager.
Yeah.
They're like, you've been the best, but the culture is just crappy. Right? So those were the things I struggled with. I struggled with my emotions. I took things personally. Struggled with imposter syndrome. I think that I could have been more assertive. These are the things that come to mind. Yeah.